Hi everyone. In this video, I'd like to share with all of you about what I have just learned about Rapport, which is actually a very crucial yet important notion for teachers to perhaps establish in their classroom, not only in English, but in any kind of learning context. Firstly, about what does Rapport mean? According to Harmer 2007, rapport itself is defined as the relationship between teacher and student and vice versa. With that definition, we can see this thing in two different standpoints. First is the relationship between teacher to student and vice versa, students to teacher. Further in his book, Harmer in 2007 divided the key characteristics of successful interaction. So there are four here. First is that teacher has to recognize students, teachers has to listen to students, teacher has to respect students, and the last is teacher has to be even-handed. Okay, so starting from this slide, we are going to explore all those four characteristics one by one. The first is how teacher can recognize students. This is actually a very simple thing to do, and we usually do this, but not all of us really recognize the effect of that activity. First, we can really take advantage of the roll call we usually do in the class. This is actually our first chance to know a little about our students, especially in terms of their names. Maybe in the very first meeting, we only recognize some of them, but as the time goes on, we start recognize more and more students, and in time, we can recognize all of those names in our class. This is a very uh, good activity to do in the start of every class because it provides us the chance to know about our students. Also, as the learning process goes on, we actually have the chance to know more about our students' characters. It is very possible. We can know about their personality, what they like, what they dislike, and perhaps some of their hobbies. As I experienced with my students, and also when I was a student, I do really like it when my teacher, my tutor, my lecturer talk about the things I really like to do. After recognizing your students, it is also important for us, teachers, to become good listeners to them. In this way, we can actually gain their trust because we know that the trust between teacher and student is very crucial in determining how the process of the learning itself goes on. Because we know that some students who have distrust with their teacher tend to feel demotivated as they learn. One of the way to become a good listener is first you have to really respect their opinions. No matter they are correct or wrong, that's fine as long as you take their opinion seriously. And also, you have to be aware of their concerns. It is also important because there are sometimes problems we don't really know, but our students can feel it. So in this way, uh, we become very sensitive toward their concern. And second tips is that you have to show interest of of those sayings. For example, when they say something, you have to feel like you are really interested to it, even if perhaps you only know a little, or maybe this thing doesn't really interest you. It's still you still need to try to show that interest to them because you want to gain their trust. And also here, there's a very interesting idioms when as cited in Hammer 2007 by Zhang in 2006 that I stalk. In this way, you as a teacher need to keep eye contact when they speak to you. Um, it is actually somewhat magically happen that when you keep eye contact with your students, they really you are starting to gain their trust, and in that way, you actually make them feel that you are so much interested in what they are saying. The next important character of successful interaction that we as a teacher have to pay attention to is how to gain and how to show respect to our students and vice versa. Uh, this is very important because sometimes we are in the condition that we can be the one who make our student the motivated. The first tips here is that we, as a teacher, have to avoid being too critical. I recall I talked about this in my previous video. Being too critical to our student is not so good because we know that we want to correct them, but there is actually a good way. There is a certain amount of critics that we have to limit. And on the other hand, sometimes we don't want our students become the prize junkies. Yeah, this is actually one of the very interesting idioms as well. Prize junkies are those people who do something just to get praise for you. And it is actually common happen in the classroom, and some students really become the prize junkies. They want to be prized by everything they do. So we as a teacher, we don't want to do that. We want to respect them, but maybe we actually also limit our praise to them. We don't want them to be the prize junkies. It is actually not so good. And also, we have to be we have to be aware that there are some things we really need to avoid, which is actually the sarcasm and mockery. Remember that like every student have different state of mentality. They're not in the same mentally strong people. So we have to be aware of this. We don't mock people, especially students, when they make mistakes, and we have to try so hard to not give sarcastic comments, because sarcastic comments could be translated in many ways, and there is a very big chance that they translate it in a very bad way that may affect the way of them seeing the learning and seeing the teacher itself. And also remember that in order to give critique to your students, the main thing that you want to change is their behavior, not their character. We know that character is sometimes already there, it's like genetically there. You cannot really do much about it, but behavior, like simple behavior, you as a teacher also have the ability to change that. So this is very crucial, and of course teacher need to be aware of it. The last characteristic of successful interaction is how teacher can bring fairness into his or her classroom. As a teacher, you have to act fair, talk fair, and respond fair to every student you have in your class. We know that, and it is common, teacher may have some favorite students, and you have students like, yeah, sometimes you tend to dislike them, but that's not good actually. As a teacher, you have to maintain fairness. You have to make your student feel that you are fair to all of them, even if personally you prefer some of them. That is okay as long as you don't really show this into the classroom. As a closing remark for today's video, I'd like to highlight once again how important it is actually to drive away from the mainstream viewing of the role of a teacher as a mere source of knowledge. In fact, there are a lot of things that teacher can do. We can talk to our students, we can listen to every opinion and concerns, we can respect them. In fact, in the school context, we become like parents to them. So what I am trying to say here is that the role of teacher is really much more than the mainstream view can probably see. So that's all our presentation for today. I hope you enjoyed the video and see you in the next videos. Thank you.